Hello, Saturday morning. I just uploaded a picture of my planner to my planner Instagram. One of probably my main hobby, if you can call it a hobby, but it's kind of a hobby because, you know, the stickers and just the obsession with what planner to use, what pens to use, what pen cases to use, what stickers to put down, the paraphernalia that goes along with all of this, which it is a true hobby of mine. But there's a limit to it. I don't, you know, and I find that, like right now, I've kind of achieved what we call planner peace because I'm realizing how I don't like having a lot of planners. I really want to work on filling one up and then doing another one, like one book mainly. The only other book that I'm always going to have is a schedule, like here, like the weeks from Hobonichi, and I have a new one. And then the new thing next year, well, since we're doing vloggy stuff here, I'll show it to you, will be that I do have a little, of course I have more than one, we all do, but this is going to be a journal, memory keeping, kind of like the 5-year one, but just for the days. And I think I've kind of found a rhythm where I know I'll be able to put something down, and whenever I don't have a lot to put down, voila, sticker space, you know, so decorations, and it will be fine. So that'll be kind of like a journal, memory keeping, but for the actual just day-to-day, every thought that comes into my head gets put down into, and it's basically bullet journaling, you know, like here, just checking that I can talk about all this stuff. Yeah, I just kind of, if it's a thing that I want to do, I'll put a dot. And if it's a thought, for example, I was frustrated that I didn't know exactly that much about Alexander the Great, and it just bugged me because I'm not that knowledgeable about old-timey stuff. So I wrote down his dates, Macedonian, so, you know, I guess Greece. And then reminders, you know, about books. So and then I do go back, and I want to sort of streamline the going back and checking things off more. But the little dashes are just notes to myself, and I had a I was thinking about my books that I want to read here, obviously. And, you know, the planner, putting it in the public is a little strange, I guess, but the planner community does that, and, you know, I like doing it. I like seeing everyone else's, although right now I think maybe because I'm vlogging and everything and the travel, I'm not looking at it as much. You get into these phases where and that's exactly how I found this size of planner, which is a little unusual. It's a personal size, so personal, people who know about Filofax, so the ring-bound planners, which, oh my gosh, I'm going to London, the home of Filofax. I'll be tempted, but it's quite expensive, and they have these beautiful leather folders, all kinds of folders. But they always have rings. Actually, not all of them have rings. I do have one that fits the weeks that's unringed, well, has rings that you can remove. I'm not a ring-bound person. I just cannot abide the rings. They get in the way. Anyway, but they have a personal size planner with rings of this size. But the non-ring version, so personal size, is a little unusual and hard to find. But I found this beautiful cover. And, of course, there are inserts. What I had to do was figure out the measurements and then look exactly so you get the one that actually fits your planner. But this is unusual, and the more typical sizes are, well, since we're doing this, this is actually, and I am sort of tempted about taking this one. This is my little passport, and all I use this for, with a little picture here that you put in, you decorate your planners. Oh, I took them out. I've been using this as my post-crossing, another hobby that languishes when I'm too busy during the semester. It's really like a summer hobby because the reason someone like me does post-crossing is to connect to people in the world. Sure, you get postcards, but it's also to sort of practice your handwriting and decorating and doing all the stationery things. And so I probably shouldn't show people's addresses. Shouldn't do that. Okay. But that's what this is. It's a record of all the ones I've gotten and received. This one doesn't really have addresses because they don't when you get them you don't get the address. So that's what I use this for. I had a hard time figuring out. This was a bit of an impulse buy, as one also does in the planet community, including this adorable cat thing on the front. And yeah, I'm sort of tempted to take this one because it's passport size and it does actually fit my passport. I could put my passport in here. The sort of original impetus for this mini size, but I probably won't. No, I don't think so. I don't want to be overburdened. I also have very little space. So I think I'm just going to do this. And the problem is I'm going to be so tempted by all the stationery that I'm going to see. I know the paper blanks that are always, they just have the beautiful covers. They're lined, so they're not really grid. I love paper blank designs, though. I might be tempted to buy a paper blank, maybe a little one. It's just fun. I mean, it's just a hobby. And I think I'm going to stop here. Yeah, that's just babbling on. I'm just trying to get ready with my day slowly, but taking it also a little easy because it's kind of over. But it's not completely over because I still have to grade and put the final grades in before Tuesday. But actually, I would like to do it today, so then I'm completely done. You know, last minute packing, laundry, decisions, even about stuff like this. For example, since we're on the topic of my hobbies, let me show you. So when you're a hobby stationery person, you have stuff like this. You have lots and lots of washi tapes. My collection, I try and rein it in. So it's just one little thing like this. And I'm going to probably either not take any, but what I might do is, what you do is you get some kind of playing card size piece of cardboard. Oh, I have one here. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, this is actually plastic, I think. And you wind some of the ones that you want on here, and then you can just put it in your planner and take it with you and decorate your planner on the go. So I know, silly but hobby-esque type thing that I might do. At some point I should talk about what I'm reading, because I'm actually kind of enjoying Solenoid. So the long sort of stream of consciousness-y work by the Romanian author Mircea Cătărescu. And of course, what I've also done is put Romanian on my Duolingo, and it's an interesting language. The sounds are fascinating, and I don't think I'm going to well, I guess if you count Herta Müller, the German lady who lived in the Banat area, and I guess even maybe Paul Celan. So there's some sort of emigre people who wrote in German, but other than that, I've never read any Romanian literature. And it's interesting that Solenoid has become such a sort of darling of the certain corners of the YouTubes. I have it right here. I'll show you the cover. I'm still struggling with reading on my Kindle. And I really want to put it in my cute little pouch here because it's got the black kitties on it that remind me of my black kitties. But I don't know. It takes up a lot of room in the bag. So I may have to just leave it and just, you know, take it as is. So little things you think about when you travel. Definitely going to take these. These are going to be a lifesaver, even though they take up a lot of room because they don't collapse. But they are really nice. It's really nice to block out all the noise. And as we all know, planes are very noisy. So yeah, that's my little update. Blabbed away for 8 minutes. Easy peasy. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll report back later on from the day. Bye. So, trying to get used to wearing the mask again. I think I'm going to wear them with these glasses. I forgot that I have really short hair now, so you see my ears so much. And I do have, as we call them in German, a bit sail ears. They stick out a lot. Specifically, and it's like one of these weird little quirks that all our bodies have. This one here, it just does that, and there's no way I can make it stay there. It just comes forward in that weird Mickey Mouse type way when I wear the mask. Something about how it gets caught on the, you know, it's just an ear. But I'm getting used to it, whatever. I don't want to wear too long earrings on the flight though. Yep, this is gonna be me. Actually, kind of, it's okay with the mask. I think I'm still kind of used to it. I remember, like, if there's almost like a warm, you know, especially when it's cold, or you feel protected. And this is silly, but I know that whenever I take my glasses off, I feel so weird. I'm so used to having that kind of layer of distancing. I feel very strange without my glasses whenever I take them off. And it'll look strange too, for me. Well, for one thing, I can't see myself. So yeah, just a little things I'm gonna have to bear with when I get on that plane, or when I step inside the airport. And then, I mean, when I want to drink something, I'll just either do this or just take it off. You know, we'll manage. See you later. I don't know what is with the Vern. So we had the cat people come today, and we had a good discussion about all the ins and outs of cat care while we're gone. And the Vern, per usual, went and hid in this weird place that she hides. Now she's all frolicking on me, which is kind of weird. What?
What you doing, Laverne? What you doing, baby? I guess it's like the other night. She did this yesterday, too. Maybe she unconsciously knows I'm leaving. I don't know. Probably not. I think it's just already their routine has been a little bit upended with all these people coming by. There was the person who came to fix the pump. That really freaked her out because it's work people who freak her out because that's connected to the bathroom incident in 2016. It was 2016. Laverne, you're weird. Okay, I can't really film like this. We're watching Cleo, which is, I don't know, I go back and forth on it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hello, I am here to finish the vlog for which will go up tomorrow, which I guess is going to be the day 10. Sorry, I'm getting a little confused. It's been a weird, interesting day. And I look strange, but I don't really care about that right now. The main reason that it's been weird, in a good way sort of, is this kind of following on from my rambly thoughts about being fretful about my reading. And that led me, and of course, Sonia, you're absolutely right. I could just stop, no pressure. But it's as if I'm not very coherent, so apologies for my incoherent thoughts here. It's not about pressure so much as what I said last night, I think, was something about I need to relax. And that process of relaxing started already today a little bit. And what happened was I went back to looking around the Between the Covers podcast and David Naiman. And I have a sort of a list of special people who I just feel are, people I really kind of am interested in or look up to or whatever. And it's so funny how when I listen to his voice, he has this very soothing voice of his podcasts, and they're so thoughtful. And it kind of it made me sort of emotional almost, just my thoughts about how if only I could sort of be in spaces where these kind of conversations take place, more kind of resentful of where I am, which is silly because I'm listening to the podcast here as well as anywhere. Anyway, and I think it is sort of still a little bit, not exactly fretfulness, but thoughts to do with upcoming travel too. But point being, the only sort of downside of falling into the Between the Covers podcast is the sense of where to begin. It's all interesting and it's overwhelming, and all the people he talks about, a lot of whom I haven't heard of, because the Tin House has this commitment to sort of marginalized groups, etc. But it's as if the minute he starts talking about them, and then you go listen to the interviews, and it's like I'm blown away. There is one book by someone who he interviewed that I didn't like, and I do think that I have to be in a certain sort of generous or understanding of new voices mindset to embrace some of the stuff. But in general, and then the main thing that connects me to him is the stuff that I haven't even touched yet, because I'm still kind of needing therapy to do with Ursula Le Guin, and then there's one episode about the mother and mothers who write, and my mother, and all this. And so I get sort of weirdly kind of it's a certain type of fretfulness, again, to do with the fact that there's just so much good stuff and how you're supposed to choose what to read. So I guess it is a kind of fretfulness. And I was doing this as I was grading, so it was sort of still a little bit, I wasn't completely free. And then we had all our chats about cat stuff too, and that all went really well. But the person I came to, I don't even know exactly how it happened, but the interview that I decided to hone in on was his almost, I think it's 2 hours long interview with Teju Cole, who's a fascinating and wonderful person who's at Harvard, who of course is from Michigan, and Nigeria, but he's really interesting, and his prose is, I mean, a little bit that I've looked at, but even just at the level of listening to them talk is amazing, and he's so, and one of the main things I like is the slowness of his delivery. And the book that they're talking about is this interesting book that has to do with Switzerland, and it's called Fernweh, this German word that I actually talked about in my classes. So all these sort of little connecting points to this writer, Teju Cole. So yeah, really fascinating stuff. And I've downloaded a couple of things on my Kindle to look at, I'll have to sort of figure out how to incorporate a more regular listening of the, I think what happens with these types of things that I do, with these rabbit holes, is you envision sort of a different life. You envision a life where you can go to bookstores and you can, you know, just interact with these people, and all of which I can't really do just because of where I am and where I live and the work that I have to do here. And then you sort of, well, couldn't I move to Poland? Do I have to stay here? So, you know, you kind of, it's a sort of type of daydreaming, I guess. And it's probably also connected to the travel. And it did kind of precipitate me looking into one of the things that Teju Cole does. He's a photographer, and he also has a lot of playlists on Spotify, and they're really interesting music. And so then I had this thought, well, I should look into interesting concerts that are taking place in London. And there's actually one that I'm really interested in, but I don't think I'm going to go. Anyway, but it's like you're envisioning what you could do if you had the time or the inclination or just the opportunity. And it's a little bit grass is always greener, you know, and I can do these things. I could even go to Portland. I would actually like to go to Portland just as a trip, you know, go to Powell's, you know, have a little look-see. And yeah, so, and the great thing in 2023, even though there's a lot of negative things, what does Teju Cole talks about marketplace totalitarianism. But one of the good things is that we have the internet for me to be able to find people that I feel a certain simpatico, you know, with, in terms of, one of the things he seems to be about is how do you live a life? How do you live a life of, meaning is not the right word, but for lack of a better term, meaning, or how do you grieve? How do you sort of, in vis-a-vis marketplace totalitarianism? And for him, you know, racism, colonialist, bullshit, for lack of a better term. Yeah, and I thought I should address it here, even though I'm not really making a lot of sense. But it's how the day went for me, and you know, I did my work and I watched my shows, but in the back of my mind, I'm sort of thinking, listening to this really great podcast. Anyway, I've blabbed a lot, and it's going to be added on, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. And yeah, and I'll see you soon. Bye.